George Bernard Shaw, a champion of the Norwegian Ibsen, himself began to write plays on similarly controversial themes, themes which were presented in Ghost, Doll's House, Master's Builder, The Wild Duck, and as we see in Ghost, there was an idea, a family that is built upon the principle of compromise. That family turns into brothel. As we see in the end of the play Ghost, Mrs. Elving allows her son, Oswald, to marry his stepsister, the illegitimate daughter of his father. Because that's a thing that can be avoided from social criticism. So, though it is allowed for the sake of a very tormented soul of Oswald, Bernard Shaw also wrote on controversial themes like Mrs. Warren's profession. And Mrs. Warren's profession is prostitution. When Mrs. Warren's profession was written, it was not allowed a full public performance until the 1920s, though it was privately performed in London in 1902. Shaw wrote a preface to the published text of his plays, justifying his determination to accept problems as the normal material of the drama. Shaw shares that idea with Ibsen that they should debate their issues rather than conceal their issues. Ibsen drama and Shaw's drama both are introduced as drama of ideas. And here drama of ideas means they debate upon genuine problems of society or issues of an individual living in society. In a career which lasted over 60 years, Bernard Shaw was so fortunate that he led a life about 90 years, and in this long life, he has been writing more than 60 years. He continued to treat contemporary problems and issues in a total of over 50 plays. The Widower's Houses is his first play that was written in 1892 that deals with a slum landlord's exploitation of the poor. His play Candida is about equality of gender. John Bull's Otherland, that is about Irish question. Shaw was Irish, though he spent his life in London, and he does not describe the Irish question in the same way as the Sean O'Casey, Brian O'Friel, or James Saint present, but Bull's Other Island is about Irish question. Shaw's plays are called plays of ideas, debate, discussion, rather than dramas of character, action, and passion. This has led to his characters being criticized as mere mouthpieces for the views they express. Meaning, Shaw's dramas, we can say characters are just an agent of the ideas of the dramatist. And he is interested to raise a debate in society. An article that I think George Bernard Shaw wrote on Ibsen's work, he claims that when Ibsen drama is performed, at the end of performance, the drama is not concluded. It leaves a question behind, and while going outside the theater hall, the people discuss that question. And when they discuss that question, they try to show their consciousness. So his idea of drama is drama should cause ripple, it should cause sensation, thrill, but the best of plays remain theatrically viable, and many have entered the 20th century consciousness. Probably his best play is Man and Superman, that is with Schopenhauer's idea of life force. And Schopenhauer believes that life force is a woman. So in Shaw's different plays like Arms and the Man and Man and Superman, this idea has been presented that Superman means life force and life force means woman. So woman is not equal to man. Woman is superior to man. यानी मैन एंड सुपरमैन में जो मैन है वो एक फैसिलिटेटर का रोल कर रहा है नेचर के डिजाइन में, और जो सुपरमैन है वो असल में वुमन है जो नेचर का एक्चुअल फंक्शन परफॉर्म कर रही है एज अ लाइफ फोर्स. And intellectuals, they are ridiculed in this drama Man and Superman through characters of Ricky Tikki Tavi. Heartbreak House, his play charts the decline of Britain as a power. You can say that's a drama of decline of an empire. Shaw's most famous play is Pygmalion, that reveals Shaw's fascination with language, famously presented in Liza Doolittle's Cockney English, I mean that accent or dialect of London. Pygmalion is a play that is about transformation of an individual through language, manners, and you can say social display. As Eliza Doolittle, within a few months, turns into a floral girl, turns from a floral girl into a lady of high rank. But even then she is of no worth because she lacks aristocratic heritage and economic stability. Professor Henry Higgins, who actually makes Eliza an aristocratic lady through accuracy of pronunciation, etc. He fails to realize, which Henry Higgins' mother realizes, that he can teach her language, he can teach her manners, he can change her dress, but he cannot see that he is depriving a girl of her mean of income. When she was a floral girl, she was independent. But when she became a lady, she was dependent and her survival was difficult. Though she wanted a support from Henry Higgins, which he was not offering because he was confirmed bachelor. Henry Egan's mother sports the girl. Saint John, Joan of Arc, that's the female French martyr, a Christian heroine, we can say, that was depicted in that play. We can say the history play. So some of the plays with their concern has been mentioned in this passage, mean idea of equality in Canada, idea of legitimacy of prostitution in Mrs. Warren's profession, decline of British power in Heartbreak House, and idea of life force in Man and Superman. Another important play is Major Barbara. I think that is the most relevant play to 21st century because it's about the alliance of Salvation Army, British Salvation Army, and that is actually charitable organization, and the arms dealer. So we can say there is a nexus between arms dealing and the projects of charity and peace. Pygmalion famously gave rise to one of the more farcical episodes in the history of stage censorship. George Bernard Shaw was allowed to keep the word bloody in Eliza's famous line, "Walk, not bloody lightly." I'm going in a taxi only if he kept several other expletives. The word bloody was not to be allowed on the English stage again for another 25 years. So in a way, Bernard Shaw's drama was a trendsetter that was challenging the norms of censorship. Another play is Arms and the Man that presents war as business, recruitment of soldier on the basis of false myths and illusions, and the relationship of war and woman who eulogize, glorify the war heroes because they have not practically seen what happens on the war front. Shaw was an Irishman like Oscar Wilde. Their outsider view of British society allowed them a freedom to observe it critically, which is not found so clearly in any English dramatist of the turn of the century. After Shaw and Wilde, who were Irishmen who used English subjects for their plays, there was also a very strong movement for native Irish drama. Irish literary theatre was founded by the poet and playwright W.B. Yeats and Lady Gregory or Lady Augusta Gregory and Edward Martin. Abbey Theatre in Dublin was the home of the Irish Nationalist Theatre Society, as Irish Literary Theatre was renamed it. John Millington Synge, one of the significant dramatists of Irish theatre, his plays Riders to the Sea, The Playboy of the Western World, and Dead Day of the Sorrows, they were performed in Abbey Theatre. These plays use the language of Ireland, in particular of the Aran Island of the West Coast, to create the images of culture and people in both tragedy and comedy. James Synge play Riders to the Sea that depicts the dilemma of Moria, a mother who loses her sons, who actually transgress, and they go to the market, and when after crossing the river, and when they return, they don't return alive, their bodies come, and she appears as a stoic character who is resigned to fate. She appears as a woman who has endured the peak of human suffering. First, she used to warn her sons to save, that what was lost, it was lost, but what can be saved, it should be saved. But afterwards, when she lost all her sons, she had no fear to lose anything. So she symbolizes mother, pain of motherhood, tragedy of mother, feelings of a stoic character, but she also represents in nationalist context of Ireland, she represents Ireland. Ireland that has sacrificed her sons, her youth, as Moria has sacrificed her sons for the sake of the country. Moria's son, they lose their lives when they enter the business. And youth of Ireland, they are also engaged in a struggle that becomes a mysterious art where they lose their lives. Sean O'Casey, another leading Irish dramatist, whose plays are set in the city rather than the country, but he presents a similar intention in realistic language and action. Irish character, Irish nationalism, issues of patriotism, resignation and tragedy are seen in Sean O'Casey's work. Sean O'Casey was not supporter of Irish revival or romantic idea of Irish revival. He was a realist dramatist and also critic of Irish movement.